Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Hidden Gems with me, your host, Natasha Parker. Thank you all for your feedback on our solo episodes. We really love to do those. Boop, boop, boop. But today we have a lovely guest in our studio. Her name is Jilly Hendrix. She is an entrepreneur. But I love when my guests come on and share their story about how they got to where they are. I met her in Montauk a few years ago, and I was like, who is this badass? Who is this girly? I love her. And ever since then, we kept in touch, and I've loved following her journey. So, Jilly, welcome to the Hidden Gems community.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm so glad you're here. And please, this is your camera. I love for my guests to introduce themselves to the Hidden Gems community because I want to hear how you talk about you. Go ahead. There you go.
Oh, wow. I'm so bad at this. Okay, I'm Jilly Hendrix. I'm the founder and CEO of a lower proof vodka called Body. It's 60 proof, so 3 body drinks is like having 2 normal drinks. So the idea is that you can extend your night. And we are expanding now to making content. And we'll be working with tons of other brands and hopefully launching some new products, a merch line, all this exciting thing. So a lot in the works. And prior to all of this, I was a DJ, podcaster, memer. I really got my start making memes on the internet and freelance, did a million different things before I've arrived at this location. So
yes.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about how we arrived to this location.
It's been a long one.
Yeah, because so how long have you been in New York?
I've been in New York about, 14 years.
Yes.
I did try to move. I grew up in Laguna Beach, and I lived in LA right after college, and I tried to move back to California twice, and then I did a little stint in Austin for about 6 months.
Yes. And how do we feel about Austin?
Austin's great, but I'm just a New Yorker.
Okay.
I keep on coming back. I'm like, I do
That's
6
it.
months, and then I'm like, I realize I don't need to like move. I could just go somewhere, you know?
You can
just travel, yeah.
You can visit.
Yeah.
Even for like a few months.
Exactly.
But like then you come home. You still have your home. You don't have to put everything in the storage. Every time do you like get rid of your apartment?
Yes, I have. And the 3 times that I've tried to move out of New York.
But you know what? I love the commitment, because some people like they want to move, like actually move, but they're like, but I can't give up my apartment, but I can't.
Yeah.
That's me most of the time, actually.
I know. Well, I'm actually in the first apartment that I really feels like home.
Oh,
that
amazing.
I love. So
amazing.
The other ones I didn't care so much about.
Okay, see, and maybe that's what we needed to find the home.
The home, exactly.
And now we can travel and do all the things. Okay, great. So Laguna Beach, we lived in LA. And what prompted the move to New York in the first place?
I was a DJ. I forgot if I mentioned that.
You did. But
yes.
but
okay,
what kind of DJ? What format? Open format?
Let me see. It was like at pop music, deep house, rap.
Rap.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I moved because I got a residency at the Box.
Oh, sick.
So I was working at CAA in music, and then I started DJing. I was like, I want to move to New York.
Wait, you were working at CAA in the music department?
Yes.
But like, we're talking like mailroom girly or?
I got my job through a temp agency, filing papers in a closet, and then I worked my way up.
Yep, we know about that.
Yep. And then I was about to join the like agent training program, but decided to DJ. So.
But was music always in your veins?
Yeah,
or were you
always?
Okay.
I was always making the playlist in high school, you know?
Okay, good. And then, so you ended up getting this job at the Box, which is, if anyone listening to this doesn't know what the Box is, it's an iconic venue in New York. It's been around for a while, and they put on shows, right? Like risque shows.
That's a great way to describe it.
Yeah, but when shows are not on, it's a party.
It's a big party.
It's a big party, and it's so much fun, and it's an experience. I will say that.
And it's been around forever. It's still around. So
it's still around. I still go to the Box, and I still love it.
I haven't been in a very long time.
Really? Yeah. Well, okay. So you get this residency.
Yeah.
And you're like done. I am like DJ Jilly.
DJing, yeah.
Like,
and then more jobs came from that.
Okay,
I met more people.
Good.
And then at that time too, it was like I started working with a bunch of brands, like DJing brand parties, and that was great. And then at the same time, I started posting screenshots of notes I was writing in my phone to my Instagram. And then started making memes and working with a bunch of meme accounts and brands, growing socials, and really making some core millennial jokes for sure.
Yeah. So you just started doing that because funny things would come to your head, or you would see funny things in nightlife, whatever, and then you just did it. And then it kind of just grew traction because you were consistent with it.
Pretty much. And I think when it first came, I was like writing funny captions to my photos. And then I was like, oh, what if I just like posted the captions?
Yes.
So that's really what it came to. Yeah.
Okay. So consistency. I mean, we know like with, Instagram, we're going to get to your new endeavor, but with Instagram, social media, like the consistency is so freaking key. It's crazy. All right. So music, brands, we're DJing, all the things.
Podcasting
during that time.
2015.
During that time when you were DJing.
Yeah.
Solo with someone.
It was with two of my friends, Greta Teitelman and Lo Bosworth, and it was called Lady Lovin'.
Okay.
And it was just about dating in New York City. But it was like early on in the podcast days.
So did we love dating in New York City at that time?
I don't think we've ever loved dating. Just not about New York City, just in general. I'm not a huge fan of it, but
I love dating in New York City. I do not love dating in Los Angeles. I will say that. It's like, hey, boo, you want to come over and smoke?
I don't know the difference of like states because I find it to be.
It's the activities. It's the activities. It's the you want to come over and smoke activity in LA that I get like we just met. Why would I want to do that? Whereas
stranger danger.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas here, a guy is at least going to take you to dinner before he invites you over.
For sure.
Same night.
Yes.
So yeah, and then you can decide over dinner if you want to, take that ride or not. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
But yeah, so I actually personally I enjoy dating in New York. You meet a lot of interesting fellows.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it is a good dating's interesting. I just get super nervous when I go on dates. So it's like,
really?
I do, yeah.
You're so like LA vibe, chill, like Cali girl.
With
chill.
dating, I'm definitely nervous.
Really?
Yeah.
But like, do you think it's noticeably nervous?
100%.
Really?
I think I also say sometimes like I'm nervous, and the person's like,
but that's endearing. I'm sure to the guy, right?
Yeah, it depends on the guy. Or they're like, what's wrong with you? No. But I'm also really picky, so I don't go out with a lot of people.
What about group dates?
Group dates, no thank you.
No.
That's even more nervous than going out with one person.
What I mean by group dates is like you meet a random guy. Okay, we go to the bar.
Okay.
Look, let me set the scene.
Tell me the story. Yeah.
We go to the bar, me and you.
Mm-hmm.
And we meet two lovely mans, right? They just come up to us. I clearly am like not into mine. But you're like, actually I'm into mine. So the next time you see him, hey, Natasha and I are going to get drinks here.
Oh, yeah.
If you want to come. Or, I'm here with blah, 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 girlies. And it's so much fun if you want to come. Versus like, I mean, I'm not saying you should ask him out. But you know what I mean? Like making it super casual versus like, when is he going to take me on a date? When is he going to invite me out?
I could do that.
You could do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's more just when you and your friends are setting you up with someone and then you go out and then they just look at you the whole time and you're just like, I feel like I'm like on stage, It's too much.
Yes. Well, I like when friends set me up because then it's like, at least if I don't like you, like you're going to be, like we're going to have
a good person.
You're like, we have vibes. Like, we're going to have good banter. Like I actually feel less nervous when a friend.
No, I love that. I just mean when you're all on the date together. Like if it's a friend and like their partner and then they're like, we want to introduce you and then you go out together. That's too much for me.
It's a double date and you just met this man.
Exactly.
No,
I can't do that.
No.
But I love a setup. That's the only way. I don't use dating apps. So setups are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean.
No shade on dating apps.
Yeah. No shade on dating apps.
No
I mean,
shade.
It is what I mean. Yeah. You own a liquor company. You go out. You be outside.
Social,
you be in these streets, so you can meet people in real life.
Yes, or I'm on the West Side Highway walking. One of the two.
Exactly. Do you ever talk to guys on the West Side Highway?
Sometimes.
I feel like we need to make body shirts. Like my body hurts. Help for the West Side.
I know.
Something.
Add your number to the back of the hat.
You've always been a social girly because you have been a DJ and then you're working with these brands and doing these different things and then the meme account, right? Mm-hmm. So it kind of, was it like a natural progression to get to a liquor brand, or what was the progression to be like, okay, I'm going to now do this?
Well, I think like, so I'd been working with startups, right? Because that was sort of natural at that time with social. If you were good at,
Yes.
you know, your own accounts, every brand was like, help us grow, help us like go viral, right? So that happened. And I got super interested in like, well, I met all these amazing founders, which I think is like really what inspired me the most, to be honest. Like a few of my friends founded Sweetgreen, and so I spent a lot of time with them, and I love Sweetgreen, but they're just such great people.
God
and the
bless
business
them.
is amazing, and they just I don't know, I learned a lot from them, and I think like I was just surrounded by so many other entrepreneurs, and so that really inspired me. And then I started another business actually that was a live video shopping app, and then I started investing in other startups, still making content, and then I had the idea for Body. So I think like liquor wasn't always like, oh, I want to start a liquor company, but it's sort of like what's next in culture, and for me that's like drinking less, right? Because I'm a huge lightweight. So I love to like go out and have a drink, but like I can't have more than like 2 drinks or I'm definitely drunk. So I was like, let's, you know, create something that is a little bit less. And I thought vodka was a good place to start because I don't think there's been, you know, that many new vodka companies. It is insanely challenging to start a liquor business, but I think just all of that really led me there. And then now as we're expanding to kind of create content and be a bit in like the media space, as well as like building up other creators and entrepreneurs and talking about other products, like I think it's really coming full circle now. But had I not had, you know, the past 15 years of experience, I would never be at this place. And I think like every year I've always been like, I wish I was further ahead in my career. I wish like, you know, I really like had my purpose, because for me, I can't really do something unless I'm like fully passionate about it, or I fully feel like it is, you know, my purpose. And I finally feel like I'm here, which is kind of crazy. I'm sure it will keep evolving, you know, as I grow, but like it does feel really good to feel like everything is sort of brought me back to like where I started a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like to know sometimes with guests, when was the moment, or if there was a defining moment when it was time to pivot? Like when you were DJing and then you obviously had your residency at the box, but then you did the brands. Was there a defining moment where you're like, yeah, I'm done DJing? Or like, did something happen to make you feel like, okay, there's something else I want to do at that time? Yeah,
I think for me, it's like about time spent, right? Because it's really hard to be working on a ton of projects. And I'm definitely an advocate for you to be doing, like a lot of people might say, like work really hard at one thing, and that could work for some people. But for me, like I needed to try all my interests, or else like I wouldn't have arrived at this spot. And I feel like where I'm at encompasses everything. But I definitely came to a point where I was like, I think that spending time DJing isn't really like my full future. So I should just stop it now so I can spend more time working on the other projects that I'm working on.
I see.
So that was kind of what it came down to. And I'd also been doing like a ton of brand events, which was amazing, and it paid really well. But it wasn't as inspired to me personally as like DJing clubs and that. But then I was also like, it just felt like it was time. But I love DJing, and like it is kind of funny because sometimes I'm like, ooh, it would be fun to like pop back in. But again, I think it's a timing thing. And I think right now I'm trying to really focus my energy, and then I'm really focused on like sleeping a lot and meditating and like spirituality. So I feel like that's kind of the direction I'm headed in now.
Yeah. That makes sense.
But I will say, sorry, not to interrupt you,
no,
but
go ahead.
DJing is an amazing thing to do to network.
Yes.
Because I did meet so many brands, so many people, so many like creatives, like, you know, entrepreneurs, everything. So I think like doing something like that, I'm trying to think if there's any other careers like DJing, but like it really is a great networking thing. So if you're really into music, why not?
Yeah,
Go for it.
Hospitality.
Hospitality. Yes,
yeah, hospitality.
That's it.
I will say that I think about DJing all the time.
Maybe you should try it.
I love music so much.
Yeah.
It is a great way to network in nightlife in general. And, you know, some people, like if there's any parents out there listening, like I remember when I used to go out all the time and my brother would be so like, ugh, like you're going out again. Like you're basically wasting your time. Same thing with my parents, you know, it's like you're wasting your time. But some of my friends that I have to this day, like when I lived in LA, some of my friends I still have to this day who are so amazing, so successful, so awesome, I met out.
Yeah,
like, you
definitely.
know, like we had this mutual, we met on a dance floor and it's like we've actually done business together. You know what I mean? So it's kind of amazing, or did an event together or something like that. So it's kind of amazing. And it is, you can strategically meet some of your like best friends in nightlife.
Definitely. I think as long as you can also like control your substances, right? Yeah. Like I think it can be hard for some people that aren't able to do that. Yeah. Which I'm very fortunate that, and it sounds like you are too, that we don't have that issue, right? But it is something that I think a lot of people deal with, but I feel like finding that balance is super important.
Yeah. Well, also with Body, what's so great is for anyone who, if you're going to a bachelorette, or if you're going to like some event or a wedding, or even like just regular nightlife in New York.
Or a date.
Or a date. It's like I've had dates that started at 7 and they didn't end until 2. Yeah. And we're just drinking the whole entire time. And so you're like, okay, where's the water? Like, I'm done here. So it's such a great idea that you were like, okay, we're going to make a vodka, but we're going to make it less. What, it was 60 proof, right?
Yeah, 60 proof.
60 proof. So,
which is still a bit strong, I will say. It's still like 30% alcohol, normal's 40%. Wine is like 11 to 15. So it still is, stronger, but it's lighter.
It's so much lighter. Yeah. And also, like, I think people have like drinking habits, right? Like, I'm a slow eater and a slow drinker. Some people are fast drinkers. Yeah. Some people are fast eaters. But just because it's lighter, I don't drink a Body cocktail faster because it's lighter. I still have my same.
Your same.
Yeah, it's my same routine that I have, right? When I'm like enjoying a cocktail, when I'm enjoying something. But my favorite thing about Body is Sundays, and I told you there's like. I had a bunch of girlfriends over for the Grammys, and we were like, obviously it's Sunday. We all have to work on Monday and like get up early and, our routine, whatever. But we're like, we want to like dance and have a good time. It's the Grammys, going to be good performances. So we made Body vodka martinis. And everyone was like, this is amazing. That we each had 2. We both felt fine. We both didn't feel like, oh my, because normally, martinis are like.
They're strong.
They're so strong, even if you get them really dirty, but they're really strong. So we just had the best time. And I just think that the awareness, and as you get older, you're so much more aware of your mornings, of your wellness, of the things that you want to do and what you put into your body. So having this clean alternative, which is Body, it was just a great idea, especially for women. And also the name. How'd you come up with the name?
My friend Felicity actually helped me come up with it, but it was sort of like own your body, own your night. A little cheesy, but like we don't use that in any advertising, but more just like, I don't know, it's sort of like you're in control is like the idea, but it is true. Like you definitely don't get as hungover at all, which is kind of crazy. And it's the same thing you said where it's like you're not really changing like your habits, right? Like the amount you're drinking, it's just you're drinking something less. So it's a good substitute when you don't want something as strong. But I think like that's where the world is headed, is more just options with drinking. Like you might want a martini and then a non-alcoholic drink, or you might want a lower proof, or you might, you know what I mean? So I think just being able to like have that option out there in the world is really what we were trying to fill.
Yeah, no, that's really great. So you guys are here in New York. Where else?
So I sold part of the business to a group called a Mass Brands Group that are helping operate and hook us up with distributors and sales and everything. So they're based out of LA.
Okay, nice.
And then my team's in New York.
Okay, great. And then how long have you been doing Body now?
About 3 years, but we've been in market about 1.5 years.
Okay, so.
And just in New York, and now we're expanding to like 12 other states.
Yes. Yeah. So now Body Co., now the birth of Body Co.
Yes.
Now tell me and tell us everything that encompasses Body Co., which we're still going to be doing Body. The vodka's still happening.
Yes, of course. Vodka's, it's Body Vodka. It's Body Co.,
Yeah.
So it's just, I think what I always really wanted to do with the vodka was have like a large media component to it. And so what I kind of realized in developing it, it's sort of challenging to do that, with just the vodka. So I decided to sort of expand the business, and we'll be doing content, creating our own content, having our own shows. We'll obviously be marketing the vodka. But then I also, the crazy thing was when we started Body is we did all these events, which you've been to a bunch of them. I think you've hosted a few of them, which I love, and dinners and everything. So we started working with a lot of other brands on our events because we were creating these like really fun experiences for people, and people wanted to come to them. So it was a great way to like interact with their brands and have them also be a part of our activations, right?
Yep.
So now with Body Co. and the media side, we'll be able to work with all these other brands on that side as well. And then the idea behind it eventually is to create more products or invest in other products that are sort of targeting our same consumer, which I love because like my favorite thing to do is like invest. I wish I had all the money in the world to be able to do that. I love founders. I love working with other brands.
Yes.
And it's nice to be able to like have something to offer people that isn't just the vodka. So we have the vodka, and then we'll work with like a ton of other brands that, people can have the vodka and then put on the eye mask or whatever, right?
Right.
You know how it goes.
I know how it goes.
Yeah.
That's great. So when you decided to do this, how does this start? Do you get the idea and then you look for investors, or like how did that come about?
Well, I think just from my experience working with startups before, and I had a previous one years ago, I knew a lot about like structuring companies and like raising and that sort of thing. Liquor is like very different than a traditional startup.
Yes.
So that was like a bit challenging to like learn, to be honest. And there was definitely like mistakes made along the way with that. But just that experience really helped me start it. But yeah, I mean, we've raised money. We're currently raising money. I feel like it's been a pretty challenging time in this economy to raise money, and startups haven't been as, people used to think of them as like, they were like the golden businesses, you know what I mean? And everyone was investing in that type of thing, but that really isn't the case as much anymore.
Yeah.
But I think I have like I'm just like so confident in everything that I'm doing that I never am like worried about that. Like that's the one section of my life that I just feel like super like confident and strong about.
And connected with.
Yeah.
And you have such a great network of people and like people that and like you said, body of founders and things like that. Which is
and
great.
That's really come from like working for the past 15 years in all these different industries and meeting all these different people, especially at CAA and then in the founder world.
What do you think, like on the importance level of networking, how do you think that has, obviously it's affected you in a positive way, but as we see now with like Gen Z and, people working from home post-COVID and things like that, do you have any like networking tools or tips or advice for people? Because like people got to get out of their house.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that's the number one thing, get out of the house, right?
Yeah.
Like I think even if you're sort of a homebody, I would try to do things outside of the house. I mean, there's a lot of different like community things happening. I think like obviously you've probably seen the like run club dating thing, right? Like I think that's pretty interesting, to be honest.
So cool.
So like I feel like even if you're not doing that to like meet a guy, that's a great place to like network,
And
right?
meet
Or meet a girl
people.
or a human or whatever, right?
Right.
But that's a great place to network. So I think that I would just like start looking into that type of stuff. But I do feel like even with Body, like we want to do, and we do all these events because people meet each other and become friends and like, so it's like if you can kind of find different communities like that exist. And I think there's a lot that do exist. And then I think also just like DMing, I feel like Instagram DMs, TikTok DMs, like meeting people that way. That's always been like a strong way for me to network.
Have you ever DM'd someone and you were like, this person's never going to answer, and they answer?
I did DM someone pretty high up at Gallo.
Oh.
And they responded, and then I had a call with them, and then we've been in touch, which is exciting.
That's so freaking cool.
And they own High Noon.
Wow.
Yeah.
High Noon is major.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
So I think just like shoot your shot, you know what I mean?
Shoot your shot.
I actually just DM'd Bethany Frankel this morning.
Bethany.
We'll see. I'll keep you posted.
Keep me posted.
Yeah.
I think she's so freaking awesome.
Yeah, she's the coolest. Her business advice on TikTok is phenomenal.
Shoot your freaking shot. That's great advice. That's really great advice. And so, okay. So I think another thing is belief in yourself, right? And like you said, like you have this like wild belief that things will work.
Well, everything I've ever done, people are like, you're not going to do it, or that's crazy.
Wow.
So I'm like, okay.
Have you been able, or like, how they say protect your energy,
Yeah.
do you think you have gotten better with that over the years as far as like some of your ideas, like even protecting your ideas? Or do you still are like, ugh, I don't care what anyone says, it's going to work?
I'm not the type of person that's like, when you have an idea, keep it to yourself. And I don't really know what the right thing to do is there.
Right.
I just get so excited that I like tell everybody.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Or like my close friends. But I also love feedback.
Yes.
Like I'm a big feedback person. So like I do like to, again, like I think I know the core of what I'm trying to say. But I think a lot of times you can get advice on how to say it so people understand it. So I think when you take people's advice or get their feedback in that sense, you know, about like how it's being presented, I think is super important.
Okay.
I do always stay in my lane. Like, I think that's really big. So it's like, I think a lot of people can say like, well, that person's doing that or that person's doing this or like, it's similar to me. But I think if you just stay in your lane, like it's okay. You know what I mean? And I think also if there are other people doing what you're doing, that just means that like there's a market for it. Right. So I think that's something else to think about. But I would say like staying in your lane. And then like, I don't know. I mean, I used to be a lot more sensitive. I mean, I'm a pretty sensitive human, but like a lot more sensitive. And I think that's what I've really worked on is kind of giving people more grace. Cause I think that like, you know, everyone has their own things that they're working on, their own trauma that they've been through, their own lives. Right. And so it's like, you can't take things personally,
right? Or
you can't take people's reactions personally. And I think that's like something that I used to struggle with a lot, but I'm getting a lot better at that.
Yes. And it's tough when you're a sensitive person sometimes in business as well. And like putting a stop between the two of them, you know, it's like, okay, like they say, it's not personal, it's business, you know, that like thing.
Yeah.
And it's like sometimes it's both when it's like when you love what you do.
Yeah.
Right. So I've also had to learn how to be that way and be better at that as well. So
yeah, and I think also it's just like you have to really think that that everyone's like a good person. Like I try to actually lead with that. So then you're not like, oh, well, that person fucked me over or like that person said this. You just have to think that and then
see, that's interesting.
You know,
every person is a good person. I will say that at once upon a time, that was definitely a mindset that I had. Not anymore. I think.
But it doesn't mean you have to work with everyone or it doesn't mean you have to give everyone your energy. But I think you have to approach things like people are not trying to like.
Come for me.
Yes. Or people are like, if someone does something, maybe they didn't mean to do it on purpose or maybe XYZ. Yes. You know, that's kind of what I mean by that.
Yeah. I think the mindset of like ignorance is bliss or whatever, or just like people are operating in their own world. At least that's how I look at things. Yeah. It's like, so if I'm operating in my world and you're operating in your world and you do something that makes sense to you in your world, that doesn't mean that it will make sense to me in my world.
Yeah.
But I have to understand or come to a level of understanding that you aren't operating in my world. You're operating in your world.
Yeah.
So therefore, I may not agree or whatever, or may feel like, oh, this person did this, and you could feel slighted. But again, it's like I look at all of our worlds, and then when we decide to work together or this or that, or, you know, you date someone, it's like now we're merging worlds.
Yeah.
So then there's a conversation. I feel like a lot of times conversations go unsaid. And so that's when a lot of the conflict or complaining or whatever in business or relationships kind of start. So I've had a few situations with people professionally and personally where I've been like,
but then you don't work with them anymore.
Yeah, but no shade, no hate, no hard feelings towards them. It's just you're operating in your world and it don't go in mine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And people also like approach things from like their own traumas, you know what I mean? Which is like different than yours or mine, right? And so it's like they might be super defensive or like something might happen, it might trigger them and that's why they're reacting that way. So I think like I just try to give people
grace.
A lot more grace, you know? And I think before I took it more as like an attack on me, you know?
Yes. That book right there. I told you about it, didn't I?
I think, but like I have horrible eyesight.
The 4 Agreements.
Oh, yes, I have that one.
The 4 Agreements.
I can't even see that far.
Don't take things personal.
Yes.
It's like it literally lives behind me because it's such a great book. If anyone listening hasn't read it, I always talk about it because it's right behind me. But I mean, those 4 agreements are so freaking true.
Yeah.
And I think that they really make life better, right? So now that it's summertime, have you seen, obviously, like, is there different times of the year when you feel that your business is, you know, with the events and things like that, it's so crazy, but then you have those moments when it's not? How do you balance the work-life balance and when it's like go time versus when you get to chill?
Well, I sort of like that more. Like, I'm the type of, I like to like work really hard for like 3 days and then take a little bit of a break on the 4th day versus like the same amount of hours every day. So I'm okay with that sort of lifestyle, but I do walk every day.
Okay, good.
And I listen to, my therapist records our sessions and I listen to them, which I love. And then I do a lot of spiritual work. So I'll listen to like Joe Dispenza or like the Law of Attraction and Abraham Hicks, like that type of stuff.
Yes.
Meditate.
Yes.
So I think just like making sure that my brain is super clear regardless of what's going on is like my number one priority. Because then I can be like a better businesswoman and a better friend and a better partner and everything, you know, daughter, everything, as long as my brain is like chill.
Yeah.
So that's like a big focus for me, is making sure that we're good.
And do you remember a turning point when you kind of like got this philosophy? Like, I remember mine. Like when it was like, if I'm not filling my cup, how do I fill someone else's cup? Was there like a moment that you remember where that happened for you?
I think it was just the more I started doing it, and you could see the difference of how you feel and how you react to certain things.
Yes.
I think that was like really big for me. And because I do have my therapy sessions recorded, I sometimes listen to the old ones and then you can like see your growth, right?
Yes.
When you are taking better care of like your mental health. So I think it's just, I guess I used to really prioritize like exercising as like the number one thing. I was like SoulCycle, berries, like running, you know, I like needed to do it every day. And like, I was like, as long as I'm doing that, like I'm healthy, you know what I mean? And like, that's really not the case for me personally. It's more about like my brain work. And so I think the minute also I started like treating that work like physical exercise, I was like, oh, now I can like really see a difference.
Yes.
But I think that's like what you have to like think about it as. But it took a while for me to get there, to be honest. Like I wasn't like, because like, you know, I love being self-deprecating and like funny and sarcastic and shit. And I still like am that person, but like I'm definitely like a little softer, you know, and I think that was like needed.
Yeah, you have to be nice to yourself, because who else is going to be nice to you?
And that took a while.
Or you won't believe it when other
sure.
people say things and you're like, what? Because of, you know, your self-talk. I agree. But it's interesting how, I don't know if it's just like circumstance in people's lives right now with the, you know, the recession and inflation and everything that's going on. People are looking for balance. And I had my very first podcast that I ever did was with this woman, Britt Frank. She's amazing. She wrote an amazing book, another book that's back there, The Science is Stuck. And she said what we really need to do is learn better boundaries. It's not balance, that it's boundaries, and even having those boundaries with ourselves. And I feel like, you know, for someone to be so, you know, just in general, your aura, your vibe is just like so chill, so cool. So, you know what I mean? But also, like, you have a liquor brand, you know? Like, it's amazing. And the story behind it and why you decided and why. And like, the other thing is like, people listen to this podcast because they want to try something maybe they're scared to do. But you're like, I'm a lightweight. That's why I wanted to do this. And it, when you really get to know yourself, and know, I feel like, know what fills your cup or what you need. Yeah. And then you figure out a way to put that into the world, or whatever you want to call it. If you're starting a new brand or you're starting something, you're doing some sort of starting of something that you want to give to the world, or that this works for me. That's like the best thing that we can do. Yeah. So now that you've gotten to the point where you're about to do Body Co., and it's kind of like you said, it's this conglomerate of like all these
of everything
things.
I've ever done in my life, which is crazy.
Like wild. And so we're going to see you creating content Or hiring people to create content?
Not me, yes.
Oh, okay.
Well, I think what I really
Your company.
realized is like I do love making content, but it's like I really love other people's content and like building up other
Yes.
people. And I think a
Yes.
lot about like what I wanted when I was younger, when I was like a young girl, like what kind of stuff that I would have liked to have seen, and brands that I would have liked to have used, especially like obviously the lower proof when I was, you know, younger going out. So I think really that's what I'm the most excited about is just like creating a platform for other people and for other people's voices, not just like mine.
Yes. I that's amazing. And now, hot take.
Let's hear it.
We love our hot takes. Well, I want to hear your hot take.
Okay.
Do you see, or what do you think, and be it nightlife, whatever it is, wellness, the differences between Gen Z and millennials?
I think right now, and again, I'm a millennial talking about Gen Z, so no judgment, but like it seems that like Gen Z, especially girls, like just want to have fun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they want like a safe, fun environment to express themselves. And I think coming out of the pandemic and, you know, everything like that, I think people are really just interested in like enjoying life. And I also think that like female joy is super important. And like, you know, I think millennials were a lot more self-deprecating, myself included. And I don't really feel that Gen Z is that. Like Gen Z is more like confidence and like, and of course there's a lot of confident millennials, of course, but like Gen Z is really about like empowerment and just like authenticity.
At such a younger age.
Definitely.
Like millennials, it took us longer to get to that confidence, I think. Like my niece is 10 and she's not Gen Z, but she's 10 and she's just like do. Like she's just so confident.
For
you know?
sure.
Yeah.
So I think in terms of like, I mean, I see like the Barbie movie success, Taylor Swift, Beyonce, like Chappell Roan, Sabrina Carpenter, Charlie XCX, like all these like moments for female joy are massive. And I feel like that's because that's what the girls want. You know what I mean?
But you said something that's so interesting. You said safety.
Yeah.
And
I love safety.
Same.
Like I love Volvos. I want to wear a seatbelt.
But I think that,
you know,
millennials grew up in a safer space because, you know, we didn't have social media like Gen Z does. And because social media can be such an unsafe place for people mentally and emotionally, like you said, there is they crave or want that that safety because, you know, they go to school and they kiss a boy and someone posts a picture or whatever. It's like all over the internet and they're getting teased for the rest of their life. It's like we didn't have to deal with that when we were in middle school or whatever, right? So that's so I mean, if any Gen Z people are listening to this, let us know what you think. But like, we want to keep you safe.
And I think also connection. I don't know if I mentioned that, but I think there's like a really, because, you know, I think the internet's amazing, social media is amazing, but I think it's great to bring that offline. And I do think a lot of Gen Z wants that offline connection as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, also with the running dating, which I'm just like obsessed with that idea.
Have you?
I haven't been to one and I don't think that I will go, but I would, I really would recommend that other people go.
Yeah, I saw TikTok.
I feel like it looks so like, I don't know. It's like people like don't want to meet online. They want to meet
I saw TikTok.
at a safe
and they were like,
you know?
if I gotta go run miles to meet Bae, I'm never gonna meet him.
I know. I mean, there's all the funny jokes about it, but I do think it's a great idea.
No, it's an insane idea.
Yeah.
Like whoever created it, started it. Like, I want you to come on the podcast.
Well, even
come on,
like,
girl.
you know, we're talking about
guy.
behaviors. Like, I don't know necessarily if people want to go to a specific like bar that's just the only activity is around getting drunk. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think like it's nice to meet people when there's other activities. You can have cocktails there, of course, but it's like there's other activities besides the main one just being alcohol. I mean, people are still going to go to clubs, people are still going to bars, but it's just nice to have other options.
Well, the thing is, you know, music being a being a motivation. Like, I don't care if I have a drink or not. I could go out if the music's good. I could dance all night, right? But being in LA or New York, or just depending on where you live, New York is just, there's such a big culture around dinners and like nightlife or drinking or bars or, you know, there's such a big culture around that. and drinking and all those different things. So I'm wondering, because now there's a lot of these like have you seen these like zero proof bars popping up?
Yeah.
There's a lot of those happening. And also going to the Soho House or, you know, somewhere where they have like chess and like checkers and like cards.
Other
and
activities.
Other activities,
Yeah.
to your point, I think it's super great and super important. But building that community of, you know, like the run club and these events and things like that it's going to be really great. And I know with your company, you're going to continue to do like these.
Yeah.
Like,
That's my favorite thing about it, honestly, is like if two people become best friends or someone like meets their, you know, girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever, like love it. That's a win.
That is a win. That is a win. Yeah. So do you have more activations and things like that going on this summer?
Yeah, we do. I mean, we activate like all the time. We give product all the time. So, yeah, we have a lot going on. And we'll continue and it'll hopefully get bigger.
When do you think, or I mean, you know, I know things happen, but do you have like a projected time of when you want Body Co to be live?
We're already working on it now, so it's already happening.
It's already happening.
Yeah.
So you have people posting already?
No. Not original content yet,
okay.
but I think it depends when this comes out.
Oh, okay. Well, probably in a few weeks.
Okay,
like maybe 2 or 3 weeks.
All right.
Yeah.
Shortly.
Amazing.
It's happening.
Amazing.
I love a soft launch, you know? Like, I'm not the type of person that's like, we're launching tomorrow, and it's like, I'm just slow.
Like, and as you see it,
that's my vibe.
Yeah. As you see it, you see it.
Yeah, exactly.
Great.
Yeah.
And if people want to get involved, what do they do?
Slide in the DMs. We'll be answering. Yeah. I mean, that's the idea, is to like create a platform for everybody with content and products that everybody wants.
Yeah. And so you're going to have like literally your own platform or app or...
Right now, it'll be the social media accounts and then a website.
Oh, amazing. That's going to be so great.
Yeah.
Like a movement. I can't freaking wait.
Yeah.
I want to do it. I want to be a part of it.
You are a part of it already.
Good. Okay, good. We'll put the podcast on it. It's great.
I love it. Yes.
So, as a girly in New York, what do you find that is your favorite thing and your least favorite thing?
Of being a girl in New York?
Yeah, just like one of the girlies in New York, you know?
Well, I'm like very into being a girl in New York right now. I'm not going to lie. I feel like it's my time to shine. But, well, I love getting dressed up and going out to dinner. That's my number one favorite activity. I love wearing my outfits. Yes. That really just gets me going.
Yes.
And having a martini. So honestly, that's it.
Yes. No,
that's what I love about it.
No, literally same.
And I do love, like, I meet people all the time. You know, I go out to dinner by myself, sit at the bar.
Where are we going to dinner?
Ultra Paradiso, my favorite restaurant.
I love that restaurant. I think we talked about this before. I love that restaurant.
It's my favorite. Going tomorrow night.
It's so delicious.
Yes. But like, I don't know. I'm always like out and about. So that's what I love about New York.
Do you spark up conversations with people, or do you let them spark it up with you if you're sitting at the bar?
I'll usually talk to the bartender.
Okay.
And then sometimes I'll talk to people. But I do get approached recently, which has been interesting.
Nice. That open energy.
Yeah.
Nice.
The open energy is happening. Yeah.
Yeah. You're not like reading a book at the bar like this. Like, I'm
open. But sometimes it's good. Sometimes you're like, okay.
But
I appreciate it all. Like, I appreciate it all.
Yeah. I always say it's practice, baby.
Yeah.
It's all practice. Even if you're like, there's no way that I would date this guy, but hi.
I don't like creepiness, though.
Oh, no.
Like, if I've said no, respect. And I find that some men don't do that, which is really...
They keep trying.
Yes.
Persistent.
But it's, like, not persistent in a good way.
It's bad. It's like, leave me alone.
No.
Then do you pull out the book?
You know... Yes. One time some guy came up to me. Actually, I don't know why I'm telling this story.
I would love it. No, I love these stories.
No, I was like, sometimes when I'm walking, it's a lot, you know? When you get like hit on when you're walking. Not exercising, just like walking.
Like down the street.
Yeah.
You don't like that.
Depends. I mean, I guess it depends on the person.
Yeah,
right?
you're like, if he's hot.
Yeah. No, but I had someone come up to me once and it frightened me. And I was like, I can't handle it. I think I just was like, I can't. Like, literally, like, it scared the shit out of me.
Wait, what did he
I was like
say?
on Broom Street.
Okay.
He honestly was just like.
Was it night, day?
Day. It was like 4 p.m. and I was wearing this dress. He was like, I really like your dress. Like, and I was just like, I can't. I don't even know. It just happened. It was so intense.
And you ran.
Well, because sometimes when you're walking and like if a male's approaching you super close, like that's what I think the hard thing is like
we're women in New York City.
If there's like a guy hitting on you, appreciate it. That's so kind. But sometimes it's like you're like too close. It like freaks me out a little.
Yes.
Does that happen to you ever?
It does, but it's never been like normally anytime I get approached by someone, it's like we're passing each other. So I already see them.
Got it. I got it diagonal.
Yeah.
And that freaked me out.
Because you didn't see him coming.
No.
Exactly.
And so then I was like, oh my God, am I like, what's happening right now?
Yes.
You know?
Like if someone just walked up on me, especially if I like have my earpods in or something like that, like next to me, I'd be like, oh, like, it would definitely be startling. Yeah. That's for sure. But I always talk to my guy friends and like, you know, like Soho when it's like hot out and nice and everyone's like out, and you see a cute girl. I mean, I walk in Soho and I see cute guys all the time and I'm like, they're not saying nothing to me. It's like, is there a proper way to do it?
I think it's great. Like, I think you should do it. I'm not discouraging.
Okay.
I just had a funny.
You hear that, Mans?
I just had like a funny story of like one time.
And you said I can't. And
I just said I can't. But that's also like me being like awkward and weird. Like, I'm not the best at like.
But he also, was he cute?
Men.
Were we into him?
No, we weren't.
Okay.
But like, I'm just sometimes I could be a little awkward. But I will say, since I've started really doing all of the spiritual work the past few years, like it completely changed my energy with dating and like with men and everything, which has been fun to see. Because sometimes I think for me, I was always like, there's something wrong with me, there's XYZ. And then once you do all like the work on yourself, you're like, oh, like I just maybe wasn't like smiling or having open energy.
Yeah, or
you know what I mean?
Something's wrong with them. You know what I mean?
True. But it's just like, I think it's, you know, it's all about like how you show up too.
100%.
You know?
And if you, again, I'll have friends that they'll go and be at a bar by themselves and they'll be reading a book and they're like, I'm like, I wouldn't interrupt a cute girl reading her book. You know what I mean? I wouldn't do it. I'd be like, okay, maybe she doesn't want to be disturbed, you know? So yeah, I do think having open energy,
that's it.
It's super important. And also like humans read energy. Mm-hmm. So you read when someone's frazzled, you read when someone's happy, you read when but also, you know, they talk about how a lot of men, especially in New York, they don't really look to settle down until they've like made it or they're like established in some way. But I think that's just because they also now feel good about themselves. Yeah. And so that shows to other women as well, right?
I think men are also nervous too. Like I think people forget. I think I forgot that for so many years. I was like, they have to show up like this and that, and I'm like, oh, like they're also nervous.
They are,
which is like that's why I can't be with a nervous person because there can't be two nervous people.
Well, maybe you guys will like nervous each other out.
I don't know, but like I do think that that's a big thing too that people also forget.
Yeah, I think men. I find that men are nervous most of the time.
Yeah,
I'm like, are you okay, sir? But I'll just.
But you're like so. I feel like you're like an amazing person to go out with.
Well,
to be in a relationship with too, but you know what I mean?
Well, I'm just like I don't want, like if I feel, because I feel so much, I'm such an empath. If I feel that someone's feeling weird, I'll be like, okay, baby, what's up? What's going on?
You'll just like call it out right there.
Yeah, I'll be like, are you okay? And then they'll be like, oh, I really got to use the bathroom. And I'm like, do you want to get the check?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what the vibe is. Like, there was once I was on a date with a guy that I was dating and he like had to shit. Okay?
Oh my God.
Like he had to use the bathroom. But like was trying to be so cute because again, I'm a slow eater and drinker. He like scarfed down his food. And I'm just like, dude.
Why didn't you just go in the restaurant?
I don't know. Some people are worried about it. Most men aren't. So okay. I don't know.
Did you go on another date with him?
We did go on another date. Yeah, we did. We did.
Okay.
Yeah, it didn't freak me out. It was just like,
well, it's natural.
Yeah, it's so natural, but also the way that he was like trying to be so cute and like not rush me, you know? And I was like, oh my God, okay, let me hurry up.
Yeah.
It was pretty funny. But yeah, I don't know. Do men shit in bathrooms? I don't know. I know we don't.
I don't know anything about men.
Like,
so I don't ask
public
me.
bathrooms. Like women don't do it often. Like, you know, like we just, I mean, I don't know why we don't. Cause like you said, it's natural, but we just don't.
I just feel like everyone has different emotions. Like it's very related to like your feelings.
Yeah. We wait till we get home.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
That's so funny. No, my favorite thing to do is talk about dating on this podcast because there's always just like
I wish I had some fun stories for you.
well, you will have them. Look, I'm gonna give you to the end of the summer, honey. You gonna have them.
I'm just picky. I should say yes more.
The thing is, you have to say yes.
Yeah.
Because you know what?
Let's hear it.
Yeah, well, I will
Should I go on The Bachelor?
Yeah. Yes.
I would be the worst person on The Bachelor ever.
Why? Because
I'm too awkward for it. I would just be like, it wouldn't work.
If you don't express your awkwardness, then it wouldn't work. But if you're expressing your awkwardness, there's a lot of awkward people that go on The Bachelor.
Really?
But they say how they're like, I feel so crazy right now. Yeah.
Everyone just feels so like comfortable with themselves and like natural and like, you know.
No. That's not the case.
Well, it looks like that on TV.
It looks like that on TV. Yeah, but they're shooting, you know, all day, right? Like they're shooting for 20 hours a day and you're getting me sitting there in my gown looking fabulous, but you didn't get me freaking crying 5 minutes ago. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There was
reality TV.
Exactly. There was once that I meditated when I was on The Bachelor. I don't know if I ever told this story on this podcast, but I meditated on The Bachelor before the rose ceremony. And I was kind of like still in it. You know, you meditate. Sometimes you're kind of like, ooh, you're out of it a little bit. And he called my name and I was just like in a daze and I didn't move. My friend Sydney's like, she nudges me and I'm like, what? Huh? Oh, he was like, do you want the rose? Or
you're like, sorry, let me finish my meditation first.
I was mortified. It was awful.
Oh my God.
We had to like redo it because it was just like, what is Natasha on right now? I'm like, I'm high on meditation.
My God.
It's so crazy. But yeah, so it happens, you know, like there's so many awkward, weird moments, but then they just get cut out. When you see that rose ceremony, you don't know that any of that happens. You know what I mean?
It's
so
true.
You can go on The Bachelor. Go on it, girl.
Yeah. Well, maybe that's my next thing.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I will tell you this. People talk a lot of shit about dating shows, reality shows, Bachelor. You learn so much about yourself from like a dating perspective. It like broke something in me. I used to be I struggled with having a secure, anxious attachment style. I would get, when I feel unsafe, I get super anxious. But then when I feel safe, I'm good. I'm secure. I feel great. So I would just not say anything. And then it really trickled and it really comes to a head when like all you're doing all day for a month is talking about your feelings. You're like, wait, what? Why is this so uncomfortable? So, I mean, you do find out a lot about yourself, you know, when you go on these types of shows. So maybe you need to go on The Bachelor.
Oh my God.
I know someone I can DM. I know someone I can email.
Let me do this part of my life first and then we'll see. We'll see.
But I think I'm so excited for you, what's to come. It's so great. And like, you know, we always want people to hear this podcast and think to themselves, I don't have to have a rule book or a game plan, right? Sometimes things just happen. Like you said, some people say, I have to do one thing. And if you do this one thing, you're like, I'm going to do multiple things. And I want to do multiple things. And that's what worked for you. And now all of those multiple things have grew you to this point where you are now, which is fantastic. And I'm really excited to see what happens next.
Thank you. Me too.
And if you have any advice for any young girlies out there who is like, I'm in a position of pivoting, I don't know what to do. Do you have anything to tell these peeps, like words of encouragement?
I would say that first off, I think there's a lot online that said like, and this is something that actually did affect me too, but I would always see other people's success at such a young age. And I was like, why? Like, I need to be so successful or I can't do this internship or XYZ because like I'm going to be wasting time and I need to be like doing this and getting to this point quicker. So I think like ignore the timeline. Like, I think that is a big thing. And I also think that with dating and marriage too, you know what I mean? Just ignore that and just keep on doing you and it'll work itself out. But I would say that is mainly like the number one thing. And then in terms of, I would take the chance, you know, especially if you're younger. Like I spent all of my 20s like trying different things. You know, I was also on a TV show, acting. Like I tried pretty much all of my interests. And for me, that worked. I was also like in a very fortunate place where I was able to like, use DJing to like pay for as my income while I was trying all this other stuff. So I think, the important thing is obviously making sure that you can have sort of a side job where you can try out your other interests. But I would say trying out your interests would be like the biggest thing. Yeah. And take the chance, because like if you have that in the back of your mind, it's never going to go away.
Yeah.
Like the shit in the back of my mind just never goes away and comes back up career-wise. And I'm like, okay.
And now it's time to do it.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like it may go to the back of the mind, but now it's in the forward of the mind. And like now it's time to do it. That's such a gem. Quit the timeline. You are
quit the timeline for real.
You are right where you need to be, even if it's like at the bottom of the well. You know what I mean? Like you can swim up and you will go and be an amazing. And like I feel that so hard. Quit the timeline.
But it's hard to also see everyone else, or a lot of other people, not everyone else, but a lot of people on social media doing all these amazing things at a young age, and then you compare yourself to that.
Yep.
But just like if you cannot do that, like that would save you so much.
Yep. I mean, listen, also there are people that I have to mute sometimes. You know, like I love you, girl, but it's just too much right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if that's what you have to do, do it, right? So there is no comparison. It's you versus you. And I think that's a beautiful message. And you can't just gloss over the fact that you were on a reality show and not tell people what it was, girl.
Well, I wasn't really on it. I was just in the background.
Well,
my friends were on Laguna in the Hills, but I was just in the background. I wasn't a part of it, really.
But that time in your life, I mean, I'm sure that affected your life, though.
Yeah,
right?
Of course.
Exactly. So, I mean,
it was definitely a lot of fun.
There you go.
But it wasn't really my thing. It was my friend's thing.
It was your friend's thing.
Yeah.
But you kind of got to see how it can positively and I'm sure negatively also affect someone's life, right?
Well, it's big learning for me too, because you had people leeching on, and then you're trying to understand human behavior, friendships, that type of thing.
Yeah, it's definitely anytime you're starting something new or you're having a hot moment, you're like, oh, where you come from?
Yeah.
What?
Well, the really interesting thing that I learned is, for me, it was sort of see who your friends are when you're successful too, because there are a lot of people that want to be around you when you're not competition and when you're not.
It goes both ways,
yes,
right?
It does go both ways, and I never saw the other way. Yeah.
And it's different people.
For sure.
The people who love you because you're not competition, like I'm quote unquote better than you, or I'm doing better than you. And then when you get your rise, they're like, wait, what? And they try to push you down.
Yeah.
But then there's also those people who you wouldn't look at me twice.
Yes.
And now because of this, you don't know how many times I've been places and oh no, I know who owns this place. And people will be there and they just oh, hi. And then they see me talking to the owner and they're like, oh, hi, how are you?
Yeah.
And I'm like, hi, boo. Hi, how are you? It's it happens. And that's why it's so, you never know who someone is. No one has a makeup, a face, a this, a that. Even the person who looks like the most beautiful and amazing, they could be the craziest person in the room, Even the person who looks like the most chill, it could be Mark Zuckerberg. You don't know, right? So that's another gem. Oh my God, so many gems, Jilly.
A lot of gems.
I love this so much. I can't wait to see your platform and see everything happen for you. Everyone listening, drink Body. Honestly, we should have had Body today.
That's true.
We should have, because I would have did a Body shot.
Let's do it this weekend.
Oh, by the way, funny. I think I told you this, maybe. I don't know. But I said, I was out at Surf Lodge and I'm like, oh, let's do body shots. This boy was like, huh? Oh.
He's like, I'm in.
Okay.
Sign me up.
Let's do it. And I was like, and I pull up and I have the bottle and I'm like,
I wish you got that on video.
D shot. Yeah. And he was like, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me. This is so fun.
I'm so glad. I'm so excited for all that is to come. I'm even more excited for this dating life.
Oh my God, my dating life. LOL.
LOL.
You're more excited than me.
I'm just sort of
can I just say hi to someone and then we're like, okay, let's do it. Do I have to go on a bunch of dates,
Yes, you do. Because let me tell you, the high could be real cute and shiny. And then
I know.
After that, they got a whole other family and freaking blah, 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 blah.
Well, that's what Google's for. You could reverse image search.
I'm not kidding you. This just happened to a friend of mine.
Really?
She was
Did
dating.
they reverse image search?
I don't think she did that, but she didn't have to because it all look what
It came out.
It comes out. It
Yeah.
all comes out. But sometimes you're like too far into it, you know. But we are gonna say hi and we're gonna date. We're gonna take our time. We're gonna date multiple people. We're not gonna just date one person because we want to see how people are treating us.
That's
right?
true.
We don't want to just take what we can get. Right?
We don't do that.
Mm-mm. We don't do that.
No. Never.
Mm-mm. Who's gonna send the biggest check? That's what Naomi Campbell says. I'm kidding.
Who's going to send the biggest check? LOL.
I'm kidding. I'm so kidding. Okay, guys. I love you guys. Until next week, you guys can find Jilly at Jilly Hendrix with an X.
Yes.
On Instagram, TikTok.
TikTok, I don't know what I'm doing there. I don't know if you should follow it.
Well,
There's a lot of random shit on there.
Look, Gen Zs,
Yeah.
help the sister
Help me
out.
out. No,
Okay.
I don't know what my TikTok brand is.
Okay. Well, Instagram, she's very lively on Instagram and she's great to follow. And Body Social Club on Instagram and Drink Body on Instagram and socials. Amazing.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Until next week.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to Hidden Gems with me, your host, Natasha Parker. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe. It really helps grow our budding community. Follow me on IG at Natasha Parker and the show at Gems with Natasha. Hidden Gems with Natasha Parker is produced by Gotham Production Studios.